Hello, it's Phil. It is Sunday, May 5th, 2024. It is 6:29 p.m. and it's time for the No Damn Choice workout. Day 5 has been okay. I feel better than I have since Thursday night. I don't know what happened. 3/4 of a beer should not do what happened in this last 3 days. But I feel better, and the fast is moving on. And this is really showing up today in the camera. Interesting. So I feel better, and I'm going to get down here and do this workout, and I'll just tell you how my day went. I always say a lot about God and how He blesses every one of us. And He blessed me today. He blessed me every day, but He especially blessed me today. And the reason that happened was, when I got up, I was feeling better. Not great, but better. And I did go get the Deer Park water yesterday and got it in the house, and that pretty much wiped me out. And I drank, as soon as I got home, I drank 5 bottles of that, and it really helped. And I didn't drink them one after the other, but I drank them within a couple of hours of each other. I drank 2 right away. And I started feeling better. And I made some home tea, and I drank that, and that really helped too. And like I said, I've been having these minor runny diarrhea things where I get to the bathroom. If I'm at the house, it's no big deal because I can feel it coming. I can get up and just go. You don't wait. You don't try to cut a fart and hold it. You just go. So I went and I cleaned myself out. Every time I went, I felt just a little bit better. So anyway, I said, well, to hell with it. What I'll do is I'll get up this morning, see how I feel. And it's a Sunday, so I've got $75 in food credit waiting for me at Charleston. So I can get 12 buckets of chili. I can get all kinds of hamburgers and chicken sandwiches if I want. I can get 2 large meats pizzas if I want. I can get 2 steak dinners with baked potatoes and broccoli if I want. But that's a little more complicated because you got to go up to a place and you got to get involved with the staff, and I don't really like doing that because the steak is pretty good, the broccoli's pretty good, the potato's pretty good, but it's just a hassle. Which the other food, none of the other food is a hassle. So anyway, and I'm not a big, honestly, I'd rather have a good hamburger than a steak any day of the week. Maybe just because I haven't ate that much steak in my life. But anyway, so I said, okay, well, I'll get cleaned up, I'll take my shower, I'll get in the car, and I'll go up to Charlestown. And that was this morning, like at, I guess I want to say 11 o'clock. I started heading up there, and I said, well, the first thing I'm going to do is I got to stop by PetSmart, and I got to buy Prissy her Applause cat food in the cans, because she got to have that. It's saving her life. Purina food and Blue food is killing her. And I can't feed her that anymore. I won't feed any animal that anymore. It gave her a syndrome where she was getting blisters on her skin and she was licking them. She was licking her fur off. I'm going, what the hell are you all putting in that food? So anyway, I went to PetSmart and I bought the cat food, and I got 12 cans, which turned out, I thought 2 $20 bills, which is pretty cool. And it wound up being $39 with the $2 off because I'm a member up there, and it was pretty cool. So I got the cat food, but it was raining, and I was like, ever since I wrecked a car in the rain, I'm real sensitive about that. And also, traffic was very heavy going up 17 towards Charleston, and people were driving crazy. And I was like going, man, do I really want to risk this? And I was going to turn left back towards the house coming out of PetSmart. And I said, nah, well, there was a wide open space in traffic, and I turned to the right, and I started heading up 17, and the rain started coming, and It started getting worse. The traffic got real heavy around me, and people were driving around me like it was the Indianapolis 500. And something in my spirit just said, man, just turn around. You can go later in the week, especially when you feel better, when you get off the fast. You don't need to be driving 90 miles up there and 90 miles back. It's 4 hours of driving. And there's also $80 or $75 or $80 worth of slots play, which usually doesn't amount to anything. I have had some I had one specific really good incident, and I ruined it by not walking out. So anyway, I said, I just said, man, I'm going to turn around, I'm going to go home. So I turned around, I went home. I gave Prissy her food, and I went, and before I got home, I stopped by the Shell station, and I filled the car up with gas for tomorrow when I go to work. And they had a sale on cans of Coke, 2 for $2.50, which it was a 16-ounce can of Coke. I didn't know that. I thought it was a 12-ounce can of Coke. But I said, you know what? I don't drink a lot of Coke. But when I do drink Coke, I like it in the can. I like the original flavor with sugar in it. And unfortunately, this has high fructose corn syrup in it. And that's a shame, because I'm about to do a high fructose corn syrup no-go. But anyway, I went in and I got the 2 cans of Coke. And I drank one of the cans, and man, it was cold and it was delicious. And I drank one of the cans when I got home, and by the time I got home, you know what happened? I got in the house and I got the food in. I pet the cat. I said, Prissy, I gotta go to the bathroom. So I went to the bathroom. I did my business and fed the cat. I sat down. Literally 5 minutes after I sat down, my brother, who I hadn't talked to since the last time I talked to my brother, who I hadn't talked to in probably 20 years before that. And last time I talked to him was like, I guess 2 months ago. He called me on my landline, which I never answer. And I was sitting in a chair, and I heard when it comes up, when the number comes up, because I have caller ID, the phone speaks out what it is. A lot of times it'll say spam, or it'll say a string of numbers, 999-111-17777-888-888-8555, and I'm like, but it came up the start of my name and the start of my brother's first name, which is Bo. And I got up, I looked, I said, oh, Bo, I know who that is. And I hung up I got the phone out, and I didn't hang it up. I picked the phone up, and I talked to him. I talked to him for a long time. That would have never happened had I went to Charlestown. And it was a wonderful talk. He told me that he's got out of surgery about a week ago. He had a major operation for 2 major hernias. Not one, 2 major hernias. He had one below his belly button, one above his belly button. I called it above his junk. And I said, was it down by your junk? Because most hernias I see are right at the top of the hips. He had one at the top of his hips, but he also had one above his belly button. And it was a major surgery. And he's been suffering. But the surgery went well. Guess this little trick out. Here's how God works. This is how you can't understand. You can't predict what God's going to do in your life. My brother was like 325 pounds like 5 years ago, okay? He was on his way to dying of a massive heart attack. It's something that our family is known for. And he got cancer. And he fought it. And he fought it a long time. And he had some wins, he had some losses, but the bottom line is he lost 140 pounds. He weighs like 215 pounds at the time of this surgery. What that did was that made the operation much easier for the surgeons to correct, and his prognosis is wonderful for the recovery from that. Now, he did tell me that his cancer is still there and that they're monitoring it, and it hasn't progressed, it hasn't regressed, it's just there. And we are praying for him and for his wonderful family. And I talked to him about cancer. My view of cancer is this. If they ever tell me I have cancer, I'm going to go on a fast that makes me lose all of my body fat. All of it. I'm going to lose all of it. I'm going to be like Mahatma Gandhi walking around. Because my view of cancer is this. Cancer is a life form inside of your body feasting on the host. If you put the body in a state of high food stress, it will go inside the body and it will feast on any life form that is not part of the body's genetics. It will actually go try to eat cancer. It will also eat any plaques in the body. It will eat any damage in the body because it has to survive. It's called autophagy. And I told him, he's tried to fast. He said he got 36 hours and he got really sick. Now he's a diabetic and he watched his electrolytes level and his blood sugar, but he said I could only do 36 hours. I said, brother, that's wonderful, but you don't have to, every fast, there's no definition of a fast. You can have one meal a day and then you cannot eat for 23 hours, and that's a fast. Or you can eat, one meal and then eat one meal 4 hours later, and then don't eat for the rest of the day. That's a fast. Or you can not eat for multiple days, and that's a fast. But the bottom line is the body needs to be deprived of food for an extended period of time so that it has a break. And that's what I'm getting with this. This is why when I have this fast and my intestines are in such discomfort, I am very grateful that I started this fasting, because it shows me that I've been holding a lot of waste in my lower intestines. And I went through a period where I had a pain in my lower, I'm going to back up here so I can show you. Right here, right there, right there. And it's a place where when I look in the pictures, it's where there's a turn in the intestines. Ooh, I'm a little bit dizzy right now. But I get pains there sometimes, and I got pains there after I drank that beer, but they're getting much less, and it tells me that there is either an obstruction or there's a weakness, so there's something going on there, and it gets better after I fast. It gets way better, and something that did help also was those mushroom pills I'm taking. But I love bread, and I love butter, and I love pasta. But I'm thinking I'm probably going to have to go on this carnivore diet, because these bodies are not made for artificial food. They just ain't. And when I say meat, I'm talking about meat cooked in a pan, covered with foil in the oven with nothing added to it, maybe some onions or some frozen green beans or something, but nothing sauces, Now this fresh chili company, it's not a sauce, that's a genuine natural product, so that qualifies as something I can eat. I was thinking real serious about making a meatloaf with their hot ketchup and put the hot ketchup on top of the meatloaf. I think that would be delicious. And maybe have some french fries or mashed potatoes and gravy on the side. But anyway, so long story short, I got to talk to my brother again. And he called me on the phone. I never answer again. And I was here in the house again. And I want to thank the good Lord for that. That was a wonderful conversation that we had. My brothers and I have had somewhat of a strained relationship, but you got to understand what they went through. I mean, they were a set family unit for 7 years before I ever arrived on the scene. My dad loved them and loved taking them with him, and my mom was happy, and suddenly, now this was after almost a year after my dad got a vasectomy, and my mom and dad apparently screwed like rabbits. They loved sex, and they loved it. They didn't make it a public thing to my brothers, but my brothers could hear part of what was going on through the closed door because, homes are not soundproof. But they never made it a public thing. But my mom got pregnant like 7 years after my dad, 7 years after my second oldest brother was born. And almost a year after he had a vasectomy. And I am my father's son. So I was the last sperm left alive in his body. But I landed in this family like a damn explosion. I kind of destroyed it. I didn't mean to. I didn't ask to be born into this situation. But man, I pretty much destroyed this family unit, and I didn't mean to. My next brother up to me became ignored. He just became ignored. The next brother after that, he felt ignored too. And my oldest brother got most of the attention, and because I was so sick when I was born, and I was really sick for about 5 years when I was born, I got all the attention from my mother. My dad could not comprehend how I showed up in this family without my mom being unfaithful. He just couldn't believe that I had that vasectomy 9 months ago. How the hell are you pregnant? And anyway, this is what I grew up in. Being loved by my mother, half despised but loved by my father. And all three of my brothers wondering, where the fuck did this kid come from? And that dynamic ran through our family even today. My mother was an absolute angel, a very hard-working woman. She got her nursing degree before I was ever born. And she loved to nurse. She loved to help people heal. She loved her family. She loved us, all four of us boys, and she loved her husband. And dude, I was a mess. I was a damn mess, mentally and physically. I was messed up until I was 5 years old, and when I was 5 years old, suddenly things sort of stabilized with my body. But it never stabilized with my brain until I was like 22. And some people would say, well, that's because your mom smoked. She was smoking Pall Malls all through the pregnancy, probably, because that's how she dealt with stress. That's how a lot of people dealt with stress, and nobody ever talked about it. Nobody ever told her that was dangerous to the fetus. And my mom had me, A lot of people are being told, now today they're being told kill a baby. My mom had me. So I got no ill will towards my mom or to my dad or my brothers. But the strange part of this story is the place where I found out about the whole dynamic that I caused in this family was at an ASAP class that I went to. It's a strange thing. It's just like, I always tell you, God is always bringing information to you. He's always trying to guide you to certain places. Now, I screwed up. When I was a teenager, I was a screw up big time, and I got caught drinking beer, driving drunk. So this was way before they actually went crazy with this stuff, with treating every DWI like you killed somebody, which actually is justified. Anyway, I went to my ASAP class, and we had an ASAP class, and I was leaving the classroom, and the counselor stopped to talk to me, and he was kind of interested in me because he was just something tweaked in him to talk to me, and we got talking, and he said, so tell me about your family. And I told him about my three brothers. I told him they're all older than me. I told him about my dad and my mom. And he says, and you kind of don't fit in, do you? You're kind of out on your own, ain't you? And he said a few other things. I can't remember everything he said, but he detailed exactly how my life had been up to that point. And I was in shock. I said, you know, this is the craziest thing I've ever seen. I didn't say that to him, but and I never saw the guy again. But it started me on an examination of the relationships in families and when people are born and, you know, what their effect is and what my behavior was. And I was a spoiled little piece of shit. I really was. And I apologize to all my brothers. They're all three still alive right now, and I hope you stay alive a long time, and I hope you see this message. I am so sorry for the way I acted in our family. I was running on automatic. I was just trying to survive. And my dad, I think at some point he was sure I was some other man's son. And he used my second oldest brother to attack me, and then my oldest brother would protect me, and my third oldest brother was in shock. He was in shock. He was like, I used to be the young one. I used to be the one who fit in, that Mom loved. And you came here and you took that all away. And he didn't say that to me. He never said that to me. But that's how he felt. And I apologize for all that. You know, I'm 64 years old now. And if you can take from me anything about this example, what I would tell you is, look around you, think about how you were born into your family, what your effect is. Remember that your mother and father, they were born in situations too. My dad was born into a sharecropper's family in the middle of the Depression. My grandfather was a smart man. And my grandmother was a beautiful woman. And they screwed like rabbits too. And all the jobs disappeared at the same time. And this was right when my grandmother gave birth to the seventh child in that family. And the only way they could get food for that family was to be, when they were in North Carolina at the time during the Great Depression, was to go sharecrop. And it turns out that my grandmother had some mental illnesses. And it was, you know, nobody's perfect. But it was awful for my dad. And he had to leave when he was like 15. I think it might have been as early as 14. He went out on the streets. He never talked about what he went through. He joined the military as soon as the military would take him. And he was in the military, I think, for 22 years. And he was very proud of his military service. And I was very proud, and am still very proud of my... of my dad's military service. He was not a perfect man, and I don't know many perfect men, okay? I don't. He was trying to survive, just like I was trying to survive in our family. And he did a fantastic job of supporting us. He never abandoned us. He never abandoned us. He always stayed true to the family. So did my mom. And we had some close times. You know, we had some close times. They had some close times of coming apart as a family before I was born. And I learned that from my brother, the one I just talked to. About 40 years ago. He said, yeah, they had some mean arguments. And I think probably that was after my mom told my dad that she was pregnant with me. But they stayed together. All they wanted to do was retire to Florida and live a wonderful retirement life. But the Pall Mall cigarettes that my mom had used to tamp down all the stress she was living under gave her cancer and took her away from us. And my dad was all alone. And my dad couldn't be all alone. And before my mom died, she called me into the room, the hospital where she was at. She said, Philip, I'm going to tell you something. Your dad needs someone to be with him, a companion. He cannot survive living alone. And I want you to know he's going to get someone. And it may be someone close to you. But please, don't be hateful to him for that. He's just trying to stay alive. Love him for everything he is. My mom was dying. And all she could think about was what was going to happen to my dad after she died. Anyway, this ain't supposed to be a crying video, and God darn it, I just want to tell the truth about this. Because, you know, you never know what's coming tomorrow. You just don't know. So anyway, my dad got a wife. And I'm not going to go into that where she came from, but this woman bore 7 babies herself to a good man, but a flawed man. And this flawed man gave this woman a reason to leave her present family, but not before she was sure they would be okay. She did not abandon her family. She always stayed in touch with her family, but she married my father. And she took care of my father for 14 years. My dad, at times, was unbelievably hateful to this woman. Right in front of me. And it broke her heart. And it broke my heart. But this woman never abandoned my dad. And my dad lived as good a life as he could live. And he was hateful to some other people that I cared about, and it caused me to not see him for about 7 years. And as he entered the last phases of his decline due to diabetes, which he refused to take care of, it wasn't his wife's fault. His wife tried, and my dad just was, I'm not going to do that. And heart disease and sedentary lifestyle and, you know, the whole 9 yards. I got back in contact with him and we patched things up as best as possible, and I said my adieus to him. But the lesson I'm trying to tell you is God brings you through everything. If you keep your faith in God, God will take your hand and lead you through the tough times. And we're not here forever. I don't know how long my brother has. He's lasted this long, and I pray and I ask God that he lasts many decades more. I have another brother who has lost his wife, and honestly, who I'm scared to talk to, because, man, the devil's been in his life so long. I'm praying every night for God to save him. And I have another brother that I haven't talked to in a long time, and I'm sure that brother thinks I want to shoot him. I don't want to shoot you, bro. It's all down the river, man. I mean, we all fought to survive the way we had to fight to survive. So let me get down to this floor and say praise to God for getting me to this point in my life, and do this workout. And then tomorrow I'll get to go to work with a wonderful man who is no doubt having cigarettes in his life, and I'm going to get to watch that. I hope not. I hope that his genetics are so strong that he can live for many decades more and confound everyone. Because he's one of the most wonderful old men, and he's not much older than me, that I've ever worked with. And I work for a great company. It's just a strange time for me to live, and I'm very grateful for that. And I just want to tell people that, look, you can live in the valley of depression for a lot of years. And but don't resort to illegal drugs. Don't resort to drinking. Don't give up on yourself, okay? You were born to be miserable. You were not born to be miserable. And a person in the mirror is your best friend. That's your best friend. When you look in the mirror, you should be happy with what you see because God gave that to you. You shouldn't have to change it. You shouldn't have to alter that for anybody to accept you. You should be able to look at that and go, you know what? I'm pretty happy. And if nobody else likes it, I don't give a shit. I'm pretty happy with who I see. You know? We're going to get through this, you and me. You know? We're going to work together, okay? And I always answer for the person that I say, we're going to get through this anyway. So, yeah, I got to piss off some people. So, you know, I'm going to get through this. And if I get through this, you'll get through this. Yeah. Yep. Yeah, we got to piss some people off by showing up. We're going to show up every day. Nobody's going to be able to say, well, he gave up. Nah, I don't think so. I've lived too long for that. You know? And I find pleasure in the simplest of things. And people might laugh at me, but like, where the hell was, I was at PetSmart. And the door opens, and there's this little kid, like 5 years old. He's not with his dad, and that's like a trigger sign to me. It pisses me off, you know, because I'm like, oh, God darn it, where's his parents at? I said, no, don't say nothing, just walk on by, go get you. And I kept an eye on the kid as I went towards the counter that had my, or the aisle that had my cat food. And I saw his dad show up and walk towards him. I thought, okay, he's going to be okay. But I got the pet food, and as I was leaving, that kid belted out a kid roar like he didn't have a care in the world. I mean, as I'm out all the way out the store, and I laughed. I said, amen, kid. You know, amen. You know, and just a wonderful family unit. And that made me smile. That made me laugh. And simple things like, you know, my cat being happy to see me when I get home. The car cranking up every damn day. And I'm going to knock on wood for that one, you know. But also I take care of it. I maintain it as best I can. I'm also slowing down because, man, I'm wearing that sucker out. But the simple things in life, you know, you go in the store and somebody holds the door open for you and you say thank you very much, you know. Or someone's coming through the door and you hold the door open for them, and guess what? 9 out of 10 times they'll say thank you. You know, you did that, you know. Nobody else did that, you did that. You made a difference in that person's life. And it's all the very little differences that add up to very big differences. And you make positive differences, you can change the whole world, you know. And that's you. That's you doing that, you know. Nobody can stop you. Nobody on the TV, nobody on the computer, nobody on the radio can stop you from being nice. Okay? We can be nice to everyone. I don't give a shit what your anything about you. Let's just put it that way. We can be nice to each other, you know? And all the politicians who want to trigger us, and all the news people who want to cut us into pieces, and all of the talk radio people and computer talk people, and all those people want to divide us. You know, we can listen and we can go, yeah, I'm not going to do that. Yeah, I will go vote my conscience. But other than that, I'm not going to hate my next door neighbor. I'm not going to do that, you know. I mean, obviously I'm going to protect my property, and, you know, if they try to steal my property, well, then it's bad news on them. But if we're all living together, I don't give a shit whether you're a Muslim or a Christian or a Hindu or you believe in math or you believe in the sun. I don't give a shit. You don't have to believe what I believe. Just believe in the Constitution that we all have the right to live our life in freedom as long as we don't impinge on somebody else's. And that we deserve that. That's a God-given right. So, anyway, end of the speech. Anyway, I gotta get to the damn floor. This is gonna be a 3-part video. Son of a bitch. Anyway, let's get to the floor. I can't even tell when this started, but I've talked a lot. Let's get to the floor, okay? I gotta get this exercise done. Thank you, Lord, for making me feel better. And thank you for helping my brother. Man, he's been through hell. And he's still keeping on, you know? Here we go. Thank the Lord for getting us off the floor. I think you can see my deer park back there. You can see a knucklehead in the window too. I can't even see it. It's a blur. This is ice cold too. Thank you, Lord. Monday and Tuesday. Tuesday night, 12 o'clock. I gotta make it to Tuesday night at 12 o'clock. It's gonna be rough. The devil's gonna stand in my way. But as I always do, I reach both hands out to God. And I grasp his hands. I say, pull me forward, Lord. I got faith in you. Come on, let's do this. And he never fails me. Never fails me. To get that kind of help, you can't keep vengeance in your heart. You can't keep hate in your heart. And it's hard to do in this world. And they're preaching it on the TV and the radio all the time. Sometimes I listen to conservative radio, I turn the shit off. Like, y'all been telling me this for freaking 6 years. Can you tell me something different? Can you tell me how the world's going to be more positive? What the hell is this? I don't need to hear this shit every day, constantly. And the other side's the same way too. All meant to cut us apart. All meant to make us hate our neighbors. I refuse to participate. I can't even say the word. I refuse to participate in your hate. I refuse to participate in your hate. I refuse to participate in your hate. Okay? I refuse. So, in my 64 years, I work with every type of person from all over the world. And been a lot of characters, but all wonderful people.